This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports. It's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports. Time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Dudes Who Bet Sports for a Thursday night. Papa Dude, we are here in the prime time spot here, sandwiched in between the Magic Mike Show and Blinkers Off. So we'll try to hold up the channel for an hour here. How's it going? Listen, we got a battle of small school hooded sweatshirts right now.
We do.
We got the Plattsburgh State Cardinals and the Missouri Southern State Lions. Look at us.
We support the little guys, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
I glanced up and I'm like, well, this is two random hooded sweatshirts that have probably never been worn side by side.
Yes, that's probably right. But we're proud of, me and you both are proud alumni of Missouri Southern.
Yep.
And of course, your wife, Heather, is from Plattsburgh. And you go up there, and I think you've taken in a hockey game or something there, haven't you?
Yeah, her mom kind of was asking for Christmas ideas. I said, go over to the store and get me a Plattsburgh hockey. And so she did. So it was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
But we do support the smaller colleges a lot, you know, and those athletes there are not getting NIL money and all that stuff. They're there because they like to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. They're actually there for the education somewhat as well.
They're there. And Missouri Southern is Division II.
Yep.
And some of the best basketball games I've ever seen have been at Missouri Southern. So they, you know, it's really a great brand of basketball and football too. I
tell people that all the time. We went to a Pitt State, which is in Kansas. Pitt State played North Dakota State, who is a Division I AA or FCS power now, but they were Division II. And this was back 1992, number one versus number two. And I was telling the guys on the Vegas trip a couple of weeks ago, I said, it's still the best football game I've seen live and in person was that game. So,
I agree. It was so enjoyable. There was probably 8,000 people there, and it was just awesome. It was one of the best games ever, and some of the best basketball games I've ever seen have been at Missouri Southern.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's these guys can play.
Yeah,
people don't realize how good Division II athletics is. They can play. They're just a little bit smaller, not quite as fast as the big guys, but they are super talented. You have to be great to play D2.
No doubt about it. And Plattsburgh is Division III. Now in hockey, there's Division I, and then there's Division III. There isn't a Division II. I have no idea why.
That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. But so Plattsburgh is a D3 hockey school, and I mean, the level is really impressive. You know, even for that small of a college. So yeah, pretty crazy. Mike Somich had a take a little bit earlier. I want to get your take on it. Okay.
Okay.
He says the holidays are extremely overrated. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Does that mean just in general?
Like he doesn't enjoy them. Like he doesn't enjoy them, and he thinks most people lie that they do enjoy them. What are your thoughts?
I would say this. I don't think Christmas is that much fun. You know, I enjoy the holidays though.
Okay.
Right. I mean, I like now, you know, I'm retired pretty much now, but used to, man, I loved that week off when I was teaching. And I have to admit, I live here in Joplin now, and I go to the mall a lot, and I walk, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed walking in the mall during Christmas. I do. I like the hustle and bustle of it. I don't like standing in line to pay for something, but I do. I like it. So I would have to disagree with him. It's a pain in the butt trying to get the right Christmas presents and all that stuff. That's kind of.
I think it's this. You just said like when you were teaching, you love that break. I think it depends on what you do for a living. If you are a person like Mike and I, and even Magic, where it doesn't really matter. It's a holiday. You got to work. You hate it.
Yeah.
Because you're in a routine, and that routine is every day you have a routine, and then it's busted up for like a week. And so you do kind of get a little bit, but in like when when you and I were at the sporting goods store, that Christmas wasn't as fun then either.
No, it was awful because you had to go back to work the next day, and it was terrible. The only time it was fun is when Christmas was on a Saturday.
Right.
And then you got Sunday off as well. So you're right. But yeah, with racing dudes, there's one day off. All of us are betting something or we're picking something every day.
Yeah.
But the racetracks weren't quite as hectic as they normally are.
No, not really.
Now. I think we had 15 this morning, 14 or we're
back in full swing now for sure. Yeah. Shotty says Christmas music is great. I think it's awful.
Yeah, I used to when I was younger. Yeah, I don't enjoy Christmas like I used to, but just because I'm getting older, we don't have any little kids or anything.
Yeah,
around that made opening presents a little bit more fun than it used to be.
Yep.
But all right, we got to get with Shotty here. She's the Texas game. You want to just wait and talk about that when we get to college?
Yeah, let's you know what? Let's kick it off with college, and we'll start with that. I've got the NFL up, but we'll kick it off with college here. So before we get into and that is a very weird video that's playing there.
That is a little strange.
We'll put it right there. But before we get into the big game, let's talk about what happened here. It definitely. I was really surprised by one and not so much for the other. So Alabama was clearly the worst of the two teams. Michigan was the better team. Yep. Alabama still almost won and could have won. But Michigan was better than Alabama, and that was really shocking. So let's start with that one. What are your thoughts on Michigan, Alabama?
Well, first of all, I thought both games were fantastic.
They were.
They were really good. I was glued to my seat in both of them. And nowadays, for some reason, I can't really sit and watch a game in its entirety without flipping channels and goofing around and getting on the internet and doing something else, whatever. These, I didn't have any problem. I thought they were both really fantastic, very interesting. I agree with you. I think Michigan was the better team. Now that I think about it, I kind of went against myself. I picked Alabama, and I probably would again. Just because they're Alabama.
You talked yourself into Alabama. I think anybody that watched that show when you were making that pick, you wanted to pick Michigan.
I did.
Yep.
And and the reason is this, and I think it proved to be true. Michigan had the better quarterback of the two, and Alabama's quarterback is one-dimensional. He throws the ball deep, but he doesn't do much else. And they took his passing game out. Now Alabama made adjustments at halftime and came out and threw some shorter stuff and ran him more and took control of the game. And we were texting each other. We both thought they had it. And then boom, Michigan came back. You got to give Michigan some credit. And Alabama mistakes, just uncharacteristic mistakes. The snaps just killed them. And, go ahead.
Well, I thought a critical moment in the game, even though it didn't cost them points, Bama's up 20-13. They get the ball back. It's late in the game. And Milroe fumbles. Okay, Michigan recovers. They miss a field goal, but still, even though they didn't get points out of it, I felt like it snapped a little bit of momentum that Alabama had.
I agree with you. And I thought once it got to overtime, Michigan was going to win because Alabama was struggling moving the ball. And Michigan really played well.
Yeah.
Harbaugh made a great decision going for it in his own territory. That was a key play. Michigan special teams killed him in the game. But Alabama had a lot of just dumb stuff. And if you watched them a lot this year, they did have a lot of dumb stuff through the year. That was not a great Alabama team, just a fantastic coaching job.
100%. And if you know what you're watching, you are sitting there watching this game and you're like, how is Alabama ahead? They are getting killed in this game, but they're ahead. And a lot of it was the coaching was really good. And the other part of it was the special teams for Alabama was perfect. And for Michigan, it was just a disaster. And that swung it. But I was with you as soon as Michigan tied the game and then Alabama could not go down and score to win in regulation. I knew the game was over because Michigan had the better team. It's just they had made so many mistakes, and Alabama was tough as nails. I mean, it's tough to beat Alabama, and
it is very tough to beat Alabama.
Yeah, and again, you just watching that. Even I was watching it thinking Alabama's going to get away with this. They're going to win, and they're not the better team in the game.
No,
Yeah.
I was there for a long time.
Mhm.
But once I got to overtime, I really thought Michigan had the best chance to beat them in that kind of a situation.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the other game, Washington and Texas. This was another one. To me, Washington looked like they were about 2 touchdowns better than Texas.
Yeah.
And they couldn't put them away. They were making mistakes. Texas kind of hanging around. You got to give them a little bit of credit as well.
Yeah.
And then we're at the end of the game, and Texas has got 3 shots to win the game from like inside the 20. And I almost thought they were going to do it. That was a weird game.
Listen, I've never been so nervous as I was.
I know.
Because I hate Texas. I hate them. I couldn't have stood it. I simply could not have stood it, especially how they blew the game, or almost blew the game down the stretch. Washington, because they had them beat.
I mean, this was a game where Washington felt like they were, I don't want to say like way better, but you knew the whole game Washington is a better team.
They were better. Remember, they gave them 7 points, too.
I know. Yeah.
So, they had rotten luck as well. But so, 37-28, 2:50 to go. You're thinking, okay, finally, we can breathe. We're not going to have to put up with this Texas shit anymore. We can actually watch the national championship game and enjoy it. I could not have had Texas won. So I felt pretty good, and they kicked it. And Texas had two timeouts, or maybe they had them all when they kicked it. I can't remember. I don't know. They only had 2 because they called a timeout to stop the clock and give them some more time when they got the ball back.
Yeah.
And so they had 2 timeouts, didn't use any of them, and went down and scored.
Yep.
In about a minute and 25 seconds, something to that, in that range, and didn't have to use a timeout. So it's 37-31. They have 2 timeouts, or they kicked the field goal. I'm sorry, they kicked the field goal. Washington did bow up and stop them and held the field goal. So then you go, okay, they just got to get the onside kick. That's all they got to do. They just have to get the onside kick. Well, Texas kicked a horrible kick. It was horrible. It didn't even go 10 yards.
No.
They got it easy.
And so you're thinking it's over.
It's over. And everybody else did it. You're saying, oh, God, I can go to bed. I'm actually going to be able to sleep because I couldn't have slept. That's how bad I hate Texas. I hate them so bad. I hate them. So anyway, then they're still in good shape. They use the timeouts. There's like, a minute left.
There's like 40 some seconds left.
Right. Well, that's when the guy got hurt.
Right.
So, they hand it off to Texas out of timeouts. They run a play, which I didn't really understand why they did that. I didn't.
Because they couldn't run the whole clock out. They could not run the whole clock out. Right. So getting a first down would have meant something.
That's right. It was 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. So that's why. But anyway.
Yeah.
So they run it, and the guy gets hurt, of all things.
Yeah.
And he gets hurt, and I'm saying, somebody get him up. Carry his ass off the field unless he has a broken neck or something. Get him out of there.
I know.
Lineman, get him.
What are you doing? I kept yelling, get off the field. Yeah.
If I'm on the sideline and I'm a coach and I'm sitting there going, get him up, get him up, get him off of there. He's hurt his leg. Okay, so what? Get him off of there. He's not.
Yeah, fine. Well, like Coach Stoops said, find a couple of buddies and drag him off the field.
Drag him off the field. They didn't. And then I kept thinking there's got to be a rule of some kind where they're going to run some more clock off.
And I thought the same thing. I thought, well, maybe there'll be like a run, 20, 30 seconds. No.
Yeah. So then the dum-dums, they kick the ball and run into the damn receiver that's catching the ball.
No. Yeah.
And gives them 15 more damn yards. And I'm sitting there going, you guys are trying to give me a stroke. You're trying to kill me. It's what you're doing.
And to be honest, to this comment from Kevin, the Sark pulled a Sark. If Texas had play calling inside the 20, they would have won the game. His play calling they choked that game away.
He's the best play caller that ever lived. Didn't you hear the announcers? That whole damn game, I was puking.
I know. Game. And then they get down there, and Jared was actually watching this game, and he's texting me. I said, hey, as big and physical as Texas is and the wide receiver and tight ends, I don't think Washington can stop them.
Neither.
They ran 3 of the worst plays you've ever seen. But anyway.
Well, he's okay. Sark, I don't get into it. Anyway, I think he's a nice guy. But anyway, I think he's overrated. in everything because he went to Alabama and did something good at Alabama. Well, who the hell hasn't? You know, now he's a genius. Anyway, Texas has more talent than anybody. Would you not agree?
They offensively, yes.
They got studs.
Defensively, on the back end, I don't think they do.
Well, no,
but
anyhow, so then, you know, I just knew they were going to win. I just knew they were going to, and my life was over. But thank God they didn't. And now I am super excited about this game. I can sit and watch it. I think it's going to be a classic. You've got finesse against power.
Yep.
And, you know, I picked Washington to win it, and I'm not going back on it. I don't think Michigan can stop them enough. But here's the thing. Can Washington stop that power running of Michigan? I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know either. So you get to this Michigan 4.5-point favorites, the total sitting at 55.5. That tells me they don't think Washington will stop them because that's it's not crazy high, but that's a high total.
Yeah.
I am in no help this game. I am so confused by all of it now. I don't know if Michigan is that good or if Alabama, I overvalued them because of what they did against Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Washington's offense is elite. I know it. That is one thing I know for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what their defense will do against this Michigan offense.
I don't either. That's the key for Michigan. I think they're going to be able to run the ball and maybe run clocks some as well. I think that'll be their game plan, is to go right at them and try to keep the ball away from Penix. And I think it's going to be that'll be the key to the game. The thing that's underrated about Washington is they're undefeated, and how many close games have they won? They know how to win in those type of games, and so I think Michigan's 4.5-point favorite because they beat Alabama. I still think everyone's biased towards Alabama. Yeah. I don't think I know Alabama's not near as good as they have been. But, I mean, they're still good. And when you beat them, you've done something. I don't care.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a great game.
You cannot downplay Michigan beating Alabama. No, that was a great win. I don't care that Alabama's not quite as good. Hey, Alabama beat Georgia fair and square. I mean, this is a really great win for Michigan. Yeah.
And Michigan had that stigma on their back that they couldn't win a game in the playoffs.
And they looked like that was 100% accurate for most of that game. And then they found a way to win it.
Yeah.
You got to give them a ton of credit.
Oh, yeah. And they've got that off their back now. And they can just go play. If I was Washington, I would love the fact I'm a 4.5-point dog. I would love it.
Yep.
They were underdogs to Texas. That was total bullshit.
Yep.
I would love that I'm a 4.5-point dog. I absolutely love it.
I think that's the key for me. I'm going to take Washington and the points just because I just don't think anybody should be laying 4.5. And I think Michigan is, for factors of kind of what Doc was bringing up. You know, it's a team from the Pac-12 in Washington, and still not everybody kind of knows who they are. I will be afraid to bet very much on this game, though, because I don't have a good feel for this game at all.
Yeah.
In my mind, I do think it's going to come down to what you brought up. Because I think Penix is so good, they're going to score some, right? Even on a great defense like Michigan. But they're not going to score a ton. So I think the key is going to be, does Michigan overwhelm the Washington defense with the running game and with the power football, not just running game, but power plays. And if they can't stop them, they're going to be in big trouble. That's kind of my worry for Washington.
Yeah, I was listening to somebody, I can't remember who it was, somebody I respect, though, talking about the size of Washington's front offensive line.
Yeah.
And they were shocked when they actually saw how big their offensive line is.
Well, when you talk about the Washington offense, I'll be shocked if they don't have success.
I will too. And a lot of people are saying Penix should have been the Heisman Trophy winner. I don't know how he wasn't. undefeated, played well all year for the most part.
I'm going to tell you because of where he played.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Those teams just get ignored, and that's if that kid was at LSU, he probably would be the number 1 pick in the draft right now.
No doubt.
Or Alabama, or anywhere on the East or Eastern.
I think those West Coast teams, they play a lot of the late games.
Yep.
And if you're on the East Coast, and even here, unless you're a junkie, you can't stay up that late. Still watching, you're tired by the time they're over. It's midnight, and so I agree with you. But I just think it's going to be a classic. I can't wait to watch it.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great game, and I'm kind of with you. I don't really care who wins. You know, I don't like either team or dislike either team. I like to watch both of these teams play, have all year. So I think it's going to be fun to see what happens. Like I said, I'm going to take Washington and the points very, very lightly. And then, hey, we'll watch this game and maybe we can make some in-game bets during it. But I'm not going to be shocked if Michigan does cover that spread. And I wouldn't be shocked if Washington wins by a touchdown either. So it's a toughie for me. I do think it's going over 55.5. What do you think of the total?
55.5. Okay.
I know.
28, 27, 30 to 28.
Yeah.
That sounds about. I'm going to say this. If it gets into like 60, I think Washington wins.
It's probably. Yeah, probably. I think the flow of the game is going to be the key to the game. You're right. If it goes up and down the field, it's going to favor Washington. But I don't think it's impossible Michigan wins that type of game either. Honestly.
No, they've got more weapons than we think.
This is not some slog of a team, right? We've seen it. Like we've seen in Alabama, not before they had their great quarterbacks, where they were going to slow you down, physically dominate you, try to beat you 21-10. Michigan would like to do that and can do that, but they don't have to do that.
No, they don't.
So
I'm going to say, you said you don't really have an opinion of either team. I hate Michigan, but I don't worry. I don't hate Washington. So that's who I'm going to root for. But Davey has a good one there. Davey, good to see you.
Yeah.
Is there a bet where you can parlay Michigan and the Ravens? Brother coaches winning both titles.
Absolutely. I'm sure you could do that.
Sure yeah,
for sure.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be very cool. Yeah. And it could very well happen. They both look very good. This is, like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. This game's going to be a great game, and we'll just see what happens. I don't know. What do you think about this? Is this Harbaugh's last game at Michigan?
It's his alma mater. It just depends on I don't know how he feels about all this crap that's in college now.
Yeah.
He's such a weird guy that how can you read him?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just kind of strange. He just is. And he's not very likable. I don't think very many coaches like him very well, but he may decide to take the NFL again. And there's some rumors, the Chargers, he was very successful in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's not going to take another college job. I don't see any way in the world.
No.
He would leave his alma mater. If he wins the national championship, would that be enough to keep him at Michigan? I don't know. He's controversial. But you know what? When you win, you can do anything you want.
I don't think anybody's going to be upset with him at Michigan. I think, all the crap that's happened to him this year does that kind of where he goes, hey, you know what? Even if we win a national title, great, job's done. Now let's go do something else. And
he might.
I don't know the answer one way or the other. I think it would be interesting. I think the Chargers, that's what a lot of people are saying. And so we'll see.
What is he? He's probably 60, and he's been around quite a while.
It seems like he doesn't look all that old, but he's been coaching a long time. Yeah,
I think so too. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. He may just say, hey, I've had enough of this and get out of there.
It's going to be very interesting. So, so who's your final pick on this as of now?
Yeah, Washington. All right. That's who I picked to win it all. I can't go back now.
No, you're right. All right, let's pivot to the NFL because it's a huge weekend. We'll do this, and then we'll get you out of here and get you on to blinkers off here. So we got Let's see. We've got 34 minutes here, Papa Dudes. We're going to run through the NFL for you now. We'll kick it off. There's 2 games on Saturday. Steelers and Ravens to kick us off here. Pittsburgh is a 4-point favorite. Now, some of these games you may go, well, why is that team a favorite? Okay, Ravens are resting all the important players, right? So, like Lamar Jackson, et cetera, they're not going to play. Ravens don't need to win this game. It doesn't matter to them. It means everything to the Steelers. So what do you think is going to happen in this one?
Yeah, the Ravens are the top seed no matter what in the AFC. So that's why they're resting everybody. Pittsburgh needs Indianapolis and Houston both to lose. And either Buffalo or Jacksonville to lose. So they don't, they got a lot of things that's going to have to happen.
So the advantage, if you're going to bet the Steelers here, they're the first game. So they're still, the motivation is going to be high because who knows what could happen after this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The next game will mean an awful lot. So, with the Ravens not playing their players, I would go ahead and bet the Steelers because it means everything to them, nothing to the Ravens. I'm sure the Ravens don't like the Steelers, but what are the Ravens without their frontline guys? They're not very good. So I like Pittsburgh. 4's a lot. That's a little scary, I guess. But they're not very potent offensively, and that's probably why it's just -4. I'm going to go with the Steelers.
I almost kind of feel like the Ravens might still beat them just because of the rivalry. I'm going to take the Ravens plus the 4 points. How about? And I don't know. I just kind of feel like they still will play pretty hard and try to beat them. So, all right, this game fully, everybody's trying in this one, obviously. Texans and the Colts here. We are in Indianapolis. Texans, both teams 9-7, a huge game. The Texans are 1.5-point favorites. What do you think here?
Yeah, it's real simple for Houston. Win this game, and they own the tiebreaker over the Steelers. So when they're in, and I guess they would still have a shot at the division as well. So it's real simple for them. Indy's a little bit more complicated, but they're if they win, they're in good shape as well. So huge game. Whoever wins has really got a good shot at getting in. The game is in Indianapolis. Houston is favored. I'm going to stick with the Texans because I think they're the better quarterback.
I kind of feel like I agree with that. I think the Texans quarterback situation a little bit better, and I think they're going to need a drive. He's going to be able to do it. So I went with the Texans in this one as well. All right, I'll go to the Sunday games. Here's one that doesn't mean a whole lot here, obviously. The Browns, they're resting everybody. When I say resting everybody, they're resting important players. Right. The game doesn't really matter. They're resting quarterback Flacco here. Bengals, really nothing to play for either. They're 7-point favorites. Any interest in this game?
No, I would take Cleveland +7 in this one because I don't think Cincinnati gives 2 hoots either. And I think you better just stay away from it unless you like the +7.
That's when I would stay. I'm with you. Just kind of stay away.
The Bengals win by 7. I just don't.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep going here. Vikings and the Lions in this one. Detroit, a 3.5-point favorite here against I will call them hapless Minnesota Vikings. They've kind of faded.
Yeah, they have. They are still alive, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of things to happen.
Yeah.
Detroit can still get the 2 seed.
Yep.
They're locked into the 3, but they can still get the 2, which I don't know what a whole lot of difference between the 2 and the 3. It would be your first round opponent would be the difference. So they need to win, and Dallas and Philly has to both lose. And if they do, they'll finish second. So I'm going to take Detroit and the 3.5 because they got more to play for.
I think the motivation is there, and boy, Detroit. Shoddy brought it up. What a screw job in Dallas! My God,
that was ridiculous.
There's just no way around it. They got screwed in that game, but I do think they bounce back.
I think I heard where that crew will be doing the Houston Indianapolis game.
No, are you lying?
No, I heard that.
Oh my God. Well, okay. All right, let's keep going. That's crazy.
By the way, in that game, that was a great play call and all that.
Yeah.
But and I like Detroit's coach, but when they got pushed back to the 8, you
kick it.
The extra point.
Just kick it.
Got to kick it. And the football gods got him.
Mm-hmm.
And, he got away with not kicking it. on that second time because one of the stupid NFL players was offsides. And we have these guys are just brilliantly. They're just so well coached and so disciplined, And it was Michael Parsons, I think, the best player in Dallas' defense. Let's just jump off sides. What the hell? So anyway,
I told Jared that when I was watching the Chiefs. I said the Chiefs, they are so undisciplined this year. I don't know what's up with that.
And that's a lot of their problem. And
yeah.
So anyway, he should have kicked the extra point because for a couple of reasons. I mean, I understood going for it the first time. That I knew he was going to. There was no doubt in my mind they were going to do it because it's what he does, and I applaud that.
I've got a hot take after you're done. But go ahead.
Okay, but go ahead and kick it the second time because you got all the momentum, and you've really played well. Detroit played great, I thought, in that game, and should have won. And so I would have kicked it the second time. What's your hot take?
Always, 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 always kick it. Don't ever go for 2 in that situation. And that's not because it didn't work. It's because if it's a situation where you've got a lot of momentum, always, 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 I don't want to hear an argument. Kick it.
Yeah.
If it's a situation where you have gotten extremely lucky to get this game to it's a 1-point situation and you feel like you're outmanned, go for it.
Yeah.
But I've seen teams, underdogs, do this against OU for years. It never works.
No, they stopped.
Do you remember the year OU was way ahead? Baker Mayfield got hurt. TCU storms back. They score like 20 unanswered points. They make it 30-29 with like 20 seconds left. And they went for 2. And everybody's in the stands. They're going, oh, no, they're going for 2. And I'm saying, thank God they're going for 2. Because they've got all the momentum. They would kick our ass in overtime, but now they're making it a one-play situation from the 3-yard line. Yeah. Anything can happen.
And we stopped them.
And they stopped them.
Yeah, OSU, we didn't have a quarterback.
No. OSU did it one year. We stopped them. Iowa State did it one year. They scored like 20 unanswered points, made it a 1-point game. We stopped them. And every time, like I'll get a text like that day. I got a text from my ISU buddy, and he's like, yeah, it was they didn't make it, but man, they showed aggressiveness. I said, no, they showed stupidity. They got all the momentum. That's dumb. Put it into overtime. Now, look, if you go into like 3 or 4 overtimes, I know you have to go for 2 now in college, but before you didn't, you get that far into it, give it a shot, but extend the game always, 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 always extend that game. I hate that call. And I like aggressive play calls and stuff, but not there. Kick it.
I wonder.
It's so hard to come from behind like that.
Right.
And then you're deflated when you don't make it.
I know. I wonder if the fact that they had already clinched the division had anything to do with his decision.
Maybe there's something like that. And I get it, but just what I'm saying is like overall, it's not worth it. It's just not.
Yeah.
And again, I know a lot of people are listening and probably think, well, yeah, it's easy to say when they don't make it. Even if I said it as they were doing it, I said, don't do this. Just kick it.
Yeah.
But anyway, what are you going to do?
Yeah. I never have got a definitive answer. Did the guys report like they were supposed to?
Yeah, no, they did it. End of the day, they should have won the game. They did everything they're supposed to do. They did everything right. It's a situation where he should have been rewarded for going for it.
So the referees blew it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And look, I again, even if they would have made it, I still don't think it's the right call, but they should have won the game. It was a horrible call. They did everything they're supposed to do and they still lost. So it sucks. So on the flip side of the reality of what actually happened is they got screwed. So, all right, let's keep going on though. Jacksonville and Tennessee here. Jacksonville's a 3.5-point favorite, must-win game. I happen to think the Jaguars are just abysmal, but can they rally and win this game in Tennessee?
Well, it's simple. They win, they're in.
Yep.
Because they got the head-to-head over Houston or Indy.
Yep.
And Pittsburgh as well. So they're in with a win. So they got the easiest road. You just got to win. Tennessee's, what do they got to play for other than pride? They've had an abysmal season. There's no way Jacksonville should not win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Now they bounced back and played a little better last week. Got a win, broke that losing streak. That might help them a little.
Yeah.
I can't take Tennessee, so I'm going to go with the Jaguars. And I wish it was 3 instead of 3.5. I may go Tennessee plus the points because I think it will be close.
I'm going Tennessee. I think Tennessee's going to beat them. I really do. There's always every year. There's always one game where it's like, all they got to do is go win, and they don't. And
That's
I think
true.
this is it.
And if you
I don't
think
like this.
that,
I don't like Jacksonville at all. I don't like this team at all.
Well, I don't either, and I hope they lose because I would rather see Houston or in Indiana or Indianapolis in it.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
So
Agree. But we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Jets in New England. Any thoughts on this, or can we
No,
just go on?
No.
Okay.
There's no reason to even talk about it.
So these next 2 games are big because what happened last week. Let's first talk about the Falcons and the Saints here. Saints went to Tampa, got the job done. Can they make it 2 in a row? Can they get to 9-8 and put all the pressure on Tampa?
I think they will. I think they're better than Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta still has slim hope to win the division. But anyway, I think the Saints win. I think they cover.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Saints get the job done here. And then because the Saints went to Tampa and destroyed the Buccaneers, who had been playing great, I was shocked. I wasn't really shocked the Saints won. I was shocked this was just a beatdown.
No, they played awful.
However, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
If Tampa wins this game against the Panthers, they have the tiebreaker over the Saints.
Yep.
Tampa will win the division. All Tampa has to do is go on the road and beat the 2-14 Panthers.
Yeah.
But they're only 4.5-point favorites, which tells you Vegas and the people that set these lines, they don't think this is going to be a blowout. What do you think? I think Tampa comes out and plays a lot better. Do you think they get the win?
I'm not going to bet them. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I don't know. They should, they made it easy or hard on themselves. They could be resting everybody this week.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. It's a must win against a team that the thing about the Panthers is their defense is pretty good. It's not bad. And if Tampa goes up there and turns it over a couple times and they got to, make a drive to win the game, I don't know if they can do it or not. So they better get ahead, stay ahead of them. They better come out and get them early. Because if you leave this team around like this, they're going to just play for pride and everything else. I'm going to take the Bucks to win it. I wish that line had come down to about 3. I can see 20-17. I really can.
I'm as a quasi fan of Tampa, because of Baker. I am worried about this game.
I am too.
Because it just kind of feels to me like you guys had it and you played so bad.
Yep.
And now you got to go on the road. I don't know. I think they'll win, but I come into this game terrified.
Yeah. I don't think the Panthers are as good as 8-8, to be honest. Not the Panthers, the Buccaneers are as good as 8-8. I don't. Yeah. I don't think they're that good. They had that 3-game stretch where they played really well. And then it all came crashing down last week. And I kind of think New Orleans is better than them. But anyway, it's going to be, there's no reason they don't win.
Yeah.
Because they're better than a 2-14 Carolina team, that's for sure. But I think it'll be close.
Yep. All right, let's keep it going here. The afternoon games. Bears and Packers are next here. Green Bay 3-point favorite here against the Bears in Lambeau Field. The Bears, a lot of people haven't really maybe realized this, but they've kind of made a mild rally at this thing.
They have.
Can they go to Lambeau and win? That's the question.
It's arguable. You can argue they're better than the Packers.
I think the Bears are a better team than the Packers. That's not to say I think they're going to win in Lambeau, but I think they're better. Yeah.
Weren't they once like 2-6, 1-5, something like that, and a rally to 7-9, and
yep.
they're playing pretty well. Green Bay wins, they're in.
Yeah.
They could still get a 6th seed if the Rams lose.
Yeah.
And a couple of other things go on. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take them because Chicago has trouble beating the Packers.
Yeah.
I think you say this all the time. The uniform will probably win. And I think that's going to get them through it. So I'm going to take Green Bay to win.
I think you're right. I think the Bears are a little bit better. I think Green Bay will win. The Bears, a game they're really going to look back on and just want to throw up. They had Cleveland beat and totally blew a game against them, or they could be in even better shape. But I'm with you. I do think the Packers are going to come through. I think it's a uniform game. I think the Packers are going to win it. All right, let's keep going. Broncos and the Raiders here in a nothing game. Yep. Raiders are 3-point favorites. I kind of favor the Raiders here at home in this kind of nothing.
It just depends. Do they care? I do too. Denver's in turmoil again, as usual.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to get rid of Russell Williams and just start all over myself. I don't know what's going on there, but I guess they did rally to get to 8-8, maybe winning 9 and having a winning season means something to them. I don't know, but I'm with you. I'm going to go with the home team, the Raiders, to beat a Denver team, which was in the playoff hunt somewhat, but just never could get the win they needed to get over the top.
Do you realize as bad as this thing is kind of went for the Broncos, they're let's say they finish 8-9, they lose this game. You go back to the very first of the year, they blew big leads at home against terrible teams.
Yep.
If they just finished those games out, they were comfortably in the playoffs.
Oh, their early season schedule was terrible.
Yeah. And if they really turned it around, and it's still a mess, but anyway, we'll see what
they had. I want to say, I'm probably wrong, but teams like Arizona and Washington, I think, were their first 2 games, and they were at home. Teams of that.
No, it was I thought the first game was the Raiders.
Maybe it was. I don't know.
I thought it was I know Washington was the second game.
Okay. Well, they should have won them both. They were at home, and
when they had big leads in the game.
Yeah, they did.
That's the other thing. It's not like, it's they lost a tough one here. It's they blew the games. And so it's bad. So, the Raiders and the Commanders at home at Denver, they lost both of them.
And wasn't game 3 fairly easy too?
No, game 3 was where they gave up 70.
Where they gave up 70. Okay.
Yeah. And they lost. You're thinking of the game. They also lost at home to the Jets early.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's 3 you got to win.
And
all at home.
Just 2 weeks ago, they lost at home to the Patriots. So
there's
4 games right there for them,
and they were all at home.
Yep. All right, let's keep going. Talk about falling apart. Eagles and the Giants. Eagles are limping into this thing.
They
lost to the Cardinals last week. Eagles are 4.5-point favorites though in New York. What do you like here?
Well, now they got to have help to win the division.
Yeah, blew it.
They had it won last week, and now they got to have help. And they blew the game last week. Their defense is absolutely pathetic. It's playing so bad. They're giving up tons of points. The Giants will play hard. We know that. They gave them fits 2 weeks ago in Philly. The Giants. I don't know if they win or not. I'm going to take the Giants plus the points. I don't know. I can't trust the Eagles right now.
I'm just going to stay away from it, but I think you're probably on the right.
Yeah, I think it'll be close.
I do too. All right, let's keep it going here. Seahawks and the Cardinals. Seahawks only a 2.5-point favorite. Why? Because the Cardinals, since Kyler have come back, they've had a pulse. They have looked decent. Can they pull off another upset this week over the Seahawks?
I think they can.
I think they're going to.
I Seattle's limping again. What they win like 1 game down the stretch. They had to win a couple, and they only won 1, and the schedule wasn't that hard. So, if Arizona shows up and still wants to play, and they proved last week they wanted to play, they got behind them, Philadelphia, and they could have just said, "Out of hell with it, let's play this out." They came back and beat them. So they got a pulse, and like you say, so I'm going to take the Cardinals to upset the Seahawks.
Kevin is exactly right. I think you'll agree with this one. The spread is begging you. You're like, hey, the Seahawks got everything to play for. These hapless Cardinals. These Cardinals are not hapless right now. Even the games they've lost when Kyler came back, they've looked better. I think this might be a decent team starting to build. Maybe they finally got a coach and they're going to get things going.
The other thing too, you might wait till right before the game, because before this one kicks off, they're going to know their fate. Because if Green Bay wins, they're out. Period.
That's true too. Yeah, That is true too.
So this is one you might want to wait just to see what's going on in that Green Bay game.
Yep.
Because they have nothing to play for if Green Bay wins.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's keep going here. The Chiefs are resting a lot of guys, including Mahomes here. So it's a nothing game. The Chargers are 3.5-point favorites. That's one of those lines you go, what, really? So any thoughts on this at all, or just whatever?
I wouldn't bet the Chargers against anybody. I mean, so I don't think you bet it because I don't know what the Chiefs are going to do. What would they? The Chiefs might be about a 5-point favorite if they had all their starters.
Probably it might not cover. Yeah,
that's right. Absolutely. So, the Chiefs are the 3 seed no matter what. So,
this is an exhibition game.
That's one to go watch the other ones.
Yep, exactly. And this one is one that means something here. The Rams take on the 49ers. 49ers are a 4-point favorite. What do you think about this one?
Let's see. The 49ers, I'm trying to read my notes here. I didn't write anything down about them. Wonderful. The Rams are 6th. They're 6th seed at the moment. They could wind up as 7 with a loss, and if Green Bay wins. So they're either going to be 6 or 7. So they're in. The 49ers, I think, still have a chance to, they are the number 1 at the moment. I think they'll be the number 1. Have they locked it up? They have.
No, they're going to be number 1.
Okay, so they're both in the playoffs. It's just who's the most motivated. I would think the Niners would rest some guys, but the
Niners are going to rest some guys. Yeah, they are.
They're still a 4-point favorite, and the Rams are playing really well. They're squeaking out some games, but they are winning. It's hard to bet against San Francisco, though. But I'm going to take the Rams in the points.
It's a stay away from me because I really don't want to bet the Rams, but they're probably a little more motivated to win the game. So
the 6th seed, let's see, they would play Detroit.
So here's the difference. If the Rams are the 6th seed, like you said, they'll play Detroit most likely. If they are the 7th seed, they'll have to play the Cowboys
or the Eagles.
Or the Eagles, correct? Yeah, most likely the
Who
Cowboys.
Would you rather play? Does it really matter? I guess you probably would rather play Detroit, maybe, but with Dallas, if that's who you play, shoot, they choke so much. I don't think the Rams can go into Dallas and beat them, though.
I don't think they'll go either place and win, but I think I'd rather go to Detroit.
Yeah, I would too.
But
plus Detroit doesn't have any playoff experience,
That's yes. Dallas at home, I think, might be okay. But we'll see. All right, 2 games ago. Speaking of Dallas, they play the Washington Commanders. I mean, this has got easy written all over it. Do you think it will be easy?
Nothing's ever easy for the Cowboys. 13 points. I'm not going to take the Cowboys in 13. I think they're going to win by 8 or 9, but I don't know about 13.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm not going to bet that one either, but I do think the Cowboys are going to win it. And then the resurgent Buffalo Bills with a chance to win the division Sunday night in Miami, a team that cannot beat anybody that's any good, really.
No.
What do you think? The Bills are favored. They're 3-point favorites. What's going to happen here?
I can't understand why they're favored. Well, I guess I can, but it still baffles me. Because you're right. They have gotten well, but they barely are beating these teams, which I guess doesn't matter in the NFL. And Miami has flunked all the tests, except I think they beat one good team. So that's probably what I think I just answered my own question here. But is this not insane? As Kevin says, they can be the number 2 seed.
Or and things would have to go perfect.
It's got to happen to get eliminated, yes.
But they could. Theoretically, they could come into this game with that on the line.
That's right.
Because they're going to know. They're going to know.
Yeah.
We win the game and we're number 2. We lose the game and we're not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's
I
crazy.
think it's bad enough that if they lose the game, they would drop from a 2 all the way to a 6.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a big drop, really, when you get to this time of the year in this. So it's a huge game. The Bills kind of beat up on the Dolphins. The Dolphins don't play well against them. And I'm not going to take the Dolphins. I don't think they're tough enough. I haven't all year. I think they're a finesse team. I think Buffalo's on a roll. They're going to get after them. They're confident they can beat them. So I'm going to take the Bills to beat the Dolphins and wind up as the number 2. That's unbelievable to say that, the number, because we had them out of the playoffs about 6 weeks ago.
It's crazy.
It is.
They got going. They're playing a little better. My big take, I still am not like a huge believer in Buffalo, but
No, me neither.
My big take on this, I don't believe in the Dolphins at all. At all.
No.
They when they play somebody that's pretty good, they get beat.
Yeah.
They've already got killed at Buffalo earlier in the year. I know that's a long time ago. Listen, they did beat the Cowboys in a game that the Cowboys kind of showed themselves, I think, a little bit too. I don't think this Dolphins team's good enough to beat Buffalo. I really don't.
No.
So I'm taking Buffalo, and I can't believe I'm saying it because I'm not that high on them either.
No,
but
I'm either.
I think they're better than Miami.
And then here sits Kansas City. And who would they play? Miami.
Yep.
And who would you most want to play?
Well,
at this point of the season,
they might play the Browns. I don't know how that would work.
The Browns, I think if they win.
Well, no, I'm saying the Browns could lose though because they're resting people.
Right, but I think they have the 5th seed cinched.
Oh, they absolutely do. You're right because they wouldn't be resting people if they didn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they'd play the Dolphins. The Kansas City would play the Dolphins, and then they would probably then have to go to Buffalo next. So
that's not that hard.
No.
If I'm Kansas City, I'm rooting for the Bills.
I would be. Yeah, I would be. Well, I don't know. I would be rooting for Miami, actually. Because then you're probably catching, I don't even know who at that point.
Well, a lot of things have to happen to keep the Bills from being a 6.
I would not worry about the first game and be thinking about the next game. And if your next potential game is at Miami instead of at Buffalo, I'd be rooting for Miami.
See, I'm just opposite because Miami can score. And I always hate to go on a road and play a team that can score a bunch of points because then you're probably going to have to score some points as well. Whereas Buffalo, I think that would be a tighter type game.
But they've had Buffalo's number, so.
But they haven't had to play them in Buffalo.
No, not in the playoffs. No, they have not. No.
It's setting up to be a hell of a weekend.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good football games that mean a whole bunch coming into this last weekend. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Not as many as there are this week. So,
yep, for sure.
This will be a good one to top off the Sunday night for sure. The Bills and the Dolphins, and they don't like each other either. So,
yeah, no, it's going to be good. It's going to be very good.
Yeah. Yep. So right now, who's going to get through this?
As far as who's going to win the whole thing or who's going to be in the Super Bowl?
Be in the Super Bowl.
It feels like if the Ravens don't win it, it could be any of the other 6 in the AFC. So
I think the NFC is a little better.
I will go. I think it's the Ravens. And again, if it's not the Ravens, I don't know who it is in the AFC.
But I think it's the 49ers in the NFC.
In the NFC, I'm pretty sure it's I think it's 49ers Ravens. I felt it for 4 or 5 weeks, but I do think the NFC, Dallas, Detroit, they have hope. Even Philly has a little bit of hope, I think. But
so Baltimore, well, we can't really even get into who it's so clouded yet who they would play first. They have a bye, so then they would go to the 4.
You're probably going to play Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Houston, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because Cleveland could beat whoever wins that division. I'll go as far as say you're probably going to play Cleveland.
Yeah, I think so too. But they do beat the Browns.
I wouldn't want to play a division game.
You don't want to play a division team. No. They know that too well. So Baltimore probably is going to have to beat Cleveland and then Kansas City or Buffalo or Miami. That would be the 2 they got to get there.
You got to beat those teams if you've got them at home and you're Baltimore. You just do.
I agree with you. Then you look at the Niners.
Yeah.
They'll either get Philly or Tampa or whoever wins at South, I think that's a massacre.
Yeah, no matter who it is, I think so.
Although, you know what? You look at the 2 seed, which is who the hell? Detroit's the 3.
It'd be Dallas or Detroit.
Yeah.
They really shouldn't have trouble with those 2 teams.
No, and they've got them at home. I would hate to have to play the Eagles first because they've got all kinds of experience. That would be a tough game. I think, though, with the Eagles' defensive situation, they would roll them.
I know what you mean. You're having to play the defending Super Bowl champions, and they will come at you. But I just think they're going to be better. I don't think the Eagles can go to San Francisco and win. And to be quite honest, I'm not sure the Eagles will go to Tampa or New Orleans and win in the first round.
They're really struggling.
Yeah, I don't know. And I didn't think I'd say that 3 or 4 weeks ago, but right now I just don't know that they're for real at all.
It's not like a light switch where you can just suddenly turn it on.
And that's the thing. Like, Davey's a huge Chiefs fan, and it goes through the kingdom. But I'm kind of with Kevin B. Like, you can't play like shit all season and then flip it on, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, they'll go to Buffalo and Baltimore and win back-to-back weeks. That's not going to be a problem. When they can't beat the Raiders at home. They couldn't go to freaking Green Bay and win. Like,
they lost to Denver at home.
They lost at Denver. I mean, I just don't think it's going to be that easy. I don't think you're going to see that Chiefs team do that.
Haven't seen it all year. Why would we see it now?
I don't know that they'll win the first round game. I really don't. And I hate that because, I know Davey's a big fan, but I haven't seen them. I don't know. They probably will win the first round. I shouldn't go that far, but I can't see them winning.
And I think they'll play better in the playoffs than they've been playing. I do. I think it's reasonable to assume that. But I don't know if it's.
I don't think you fix an offense just because the playoffs started. I think that's where I'm at with it, right?
Yeah, me too.
Like if a defense is kind of struggling, but they've got that extra motivation and you got the guys, and it's just like they're just not making the plays, and then all of a sudden, boom. But when your offense has just been bad for this long, I don't know that it's fixed just because the playoffs started.
Yeah. And then the other things with the Eagles too, their defense is not going to get fixed in 1 week.
No.
And it's just giving up way too many points. It's too easy to move the ball on them. And you take an Arizona team, what they score, like 38 last week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't. If you're a Super Bowl team, you don't give up 38 at home to the Cardinals.
No, you don't.
It's not a fluke because they've been giving them up to everybody the last few weeks. The Giants scored a ton of points on them. That was like what, 38 to 28, something like that.
Yep.
So that's the Giants. So, yeah, the Eagles are really faded. I think they were 10-1 at one time, something like that.
Yeah, they've bit the dust for sure.
Yeah. So that's a team you probably want to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I think Tampa could beat them, but Tampa's got work to do still. So we'll see there. You said it, though. It's going to be a big weekend.
It is.
Unfortunately, we got to go because Blinkers Off is coming up right now. So Blinkers Off will hit you next. We got back here. So Blinkers Off coming up real soon. We'll get out of here for this one. We'll be back, dudes who bet daily Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this week, obviously. And you'll be back on Saturday. So for everybody, we're going to head out here now. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we will see you on Monday. We'll go live for the national title game. You want to do that still?
Yes, I can do that now that Texas isn't in it.
Okay, we'll see you Monday. We'll go live Monday for the national title game. We'll tweet out details of that when we know them. So, all right, guys, we will see you guys later. Everybody have a good rest of your night. If you haven't had enough of me, just hold on a couple minutes. I will be back.
This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports. It's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports. Time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.